it's Beauty Junkie. Welcome to my channel. Today we are getting into some Goss face products. I'm trying out the Radiance Boosting Face Palette in light gold. This is a contour and bronzer palette. And I'm also trying the Weightless Veil Blush Palette in Vivid Azalea. This is a blush and highlighter combination. We're just going to try out some really fun complexion products. I've heard really good things about both of these products. So I'm going to show you some swatches in the sun. We're going to do an application demo and I'll give you a little bit of a product description. So both of these palettes are $45 each. I know, a little bit pricey, but I think you can see that you get pretty big pans in these palettes. They're weighty, they have a glass mirror. They look very similar to the eyeshadow palettes. The bronzer contour palette is 16.5 grams. 0.38 ounces, and the blush palette is 19 grams, 0.67 ounces. So a little bit more product with the blush and same price for both. There are different shades for both of these, but I got the lightest bronzer shade, and then the blush shade I probably got the deepest. I wanted to get this color. It's been out of stock for months and months, so I really wanted to get the blush, and I thought, well, might as well get the bronzer, even though I probably don't need one. So we're trying out both of these today. Let's do some swatches. The bronzer first. Doing the light shade first, and it has a little bit of a sheen to it. I think you can see that. Feels very smooth. Ooh. That is a nice sheen there. So this shade is called Soft Gold Glow, and this is Light Taupe. So now I'm going to swatch Light Taupe. Ooh, this feels super smooth, super buttery. These both feel really good to swatch. So a little bit more of a cooler grayish tone there with the contour. This bronzer is not, it's warm. We'll see how it looks on my face. Alright, so now onto our Vivid Azalea palette. So this is Pearl and Shocking. You can see this is a very deep fuchsia, and this is the goldy, light gold highlighter. At least that looks that way in the pan. This one feels smooth, but I kind of feel the little bumps on the grid on here. So let's, ooh. This looks like an eyeshadow. Look at that shade, very bold. Obviously going to be more of a light hand on that one. Super pretty. Here is the highlighter. Ooh, this feels really smooth. Look at that. That is a nice kind of white gold right there. Looks like it'll be good for my skin tone. So those are the swatches of both face palettes. Let's get into application. So I have used a couple complexion products already on my face. I use the Typology Tinted Serum, the Auric Glow Lust Luminizer in Morganite, a little bit of concealer also from Typology Tinted Concealer, and then for powder I use the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder in shade 1, and then a little bit of eyebrows, and that's it. So that's what we're working with on my face. Not too much makeup. Pretty light coverage today. I want these products to really shine. And I think I'm going to start with Light Taupe, the contour shade here. I think I probably will end up mixing these at some point in a future video, but I want to use them separately. I'm going to be using the Sonia G Sculpt 1. This is a big face brush. Going to dip in there and just see what this can do. Ooh. This is a nice color for me. And it's not like overly pigmented that I overdo it in one swipe with this brush, which has happened to me before with other contour shades and products. But that looks pretty good. But yeah, that's a gorgeous shade. Super pretty. Okay, let's do the forehead a little bit. and then under the chin. Just creating a little bit of a shadow. So you probably can't see it that well, but I think you can sort of see a little bit of shadow there. It's really subtle, but really easy, and I like that about this product. Let's get into the bronzer, the Soft Gold Glow. I'm going to be using my Sonia G in No Shige Pro. It's a little bit more pointed. Just going to tap in there and swirl it on. Both of these texturally felt really good. Ooh, this has a lot of sheen to it. So definitely, if you're used to a matte bronzer, you like the way a matte bronzer looks, this is going to be in a different direction for you, but I don't mind a good sheeny bronzer. I think I probably applied a little bit too much. So I'll have to buff some of that out, but I'm just going to take it a little bit on the forehead. Across the nose. Ooh, this is nice and smooth. Wow, I'm really liking both of these so far. I'm going to do a little bit of buffing with like a flat brush. This is the Sonia G Face 1, and just kind of buff that in a little bit. Very like California, beachy, warm and gold bronze. It's very much a vibe. All right, let's get into the blush and highlighter. I'm a little bit nervous. The shade's a little bit scary. Normally for blush, I would use the Wayne Goss number 1. It's a little bit smaller and pointed, but because this, I don't want to like just stick it in one spot. I want to use something a little bit wider. So I'm going to use the Wayne Goss number 13 and go in to this blush. Oh boy. I'm barely gonna skim my face. So these colors, wow, this is really smooth. So I have another blush like this from Sicily, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. It's very similar in color, but this is really smooth. You know, the colors like this aren't the most like beginner friendly because you have to use such a light hand and make sure you really blend it out. So I think even with just those couple taps, I probably could have used less. I mean, this is a very blush forward look, and you can certainly rock that. I'm going to go back in with the Face 1 and just take it down just a little bit. I mean, it looks scary because it is, but just use a super light hand. All right, onto the highlighter. I'm going to be using a fan brush. This is from Refer number 2. Taking it into Pearl. I think in a later video, again, I'll probably mix these to see what that looks like, but we're just going to use them separately today. That's a really pretty glow. It's not like super highlighty, but I do like the tone of it. I think it actually works for my skin. It's a light gold. It's not like a deeper gold or more warm. It's slightly warm. I think that is all a really nice combination. Looks like I have some health and color to my face, which is really nice. I mean, I've always wanted to pick this up, but it's always been out of stock. But I don't know why I hesitated on the bronzer. All right, let's get into some comparisons of similar bronzers, blushes, and highlighters. Some contour comparisons. I'm going to be swatching light taupe and then digging into some similar types of products. So that is the Wayne Goss light taupe. Good color for me. Sorry about that focus. And then let's get into the Scott Barnes Sculpting and Contour Palette number 1. So there's lots of shades in here. A lot of these are, so this palette's really pigmented compared to the Wayne Goss. Carved or diced. Might be close, but we'll see. So this is diced and this is carved. So much deeper and warmer, so not really the same. There's a lot of other colors in this palette, but I honestly don't think anything else comes close. I was looking through my collection and realized I don't have a lot of contour powders. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow, which is not really contour. I guess that's all the contour shades I have. I used to have the Fenty like contour stick, but I don't think I have that anymore and I never really used it. So let's just go into the Sculpt and Highlight palette in the lightest shade. So it says Sculpt, but then the palette is Bronze and Glow. This is obviously warmer than the Wayne Goss. And then the highlight, just for fun, looks like this. So that's that. So I do have the Victoria Beckham bronzing brick, which does have like contour shade in it, but I don't really consider it much of a contour shade because it's on the warmer side. But I'll go ahead and swatch this. This is the 01, the lightest palette. So I'll do the dark side first. So that is the deeper shade of the Victoria Beckham palette, and this is the light shade. So I have lots of tones of bronzer and contouring. Now let's get into our single bronzers. And these are the more shimmery ones that I have. I didn't pull out everything, but I picked out the ones that I thought would be close. This is a Sicily Phyto Touche Sun Glow Bronzing Gel Powder. There's only one shade, and you can see the glow on here. Whoops. So I need to swatch the bronzer from Wayne Goss, but that is the Sicily one. And then our Wayne Goss I'll put over here. Well, that's pretty. I would say it's not the same as the Sicily. Sicily's a little bit deeper, but they're both shimmery and pretty warm. The rest of these don't really seem to match, but the Sicily ones, that same relative family. And then I have the Tom Ford Glow Bronzer in shade 2 Terra. Now this one isn't as obviously shimmery. I think it's not completely matte either, but not as much glow. And a different shade all around. So those are our comparisons of the bronzer, the Radiance Boosting palette. Those are all our comparisons. All right, let's make some comparisons to Shocking from the Vivid Azalea palette. I only have a couple that I think are close. This first one is also from Sicily. This is the Leafito Blush in number 2 Rosy Fuchsia. Let's just do some side-by-sides. I knew it would be close, but I think they are different colors. So that's probably why I also hesitated to get the Wayne Goss, but this was in stock and his was, the Sicily was in stock and the Wayne Goss was not. So these are very close. I think Wayne's is definitely more matte, and this has like a slight little bit of sheen and just a slightly different tone. Maybe, I think you can see that side by side. This maybe has a little bit more purple in there, and this is a little bit warmer, maybe more red or something. But yeah, I mean, fairly close, right? The Sicily, the formula of this, I don't know if you can see, it's not like straight matte. It has a little bit of like slipperiness to it. And then I do have another powder that is a little bit different. This is the Jill Stewart Baby Lilac Blush Bouquet. And I think you can see some darker tones in here that might be close. yeah, there's some deep pinks in here. Now this one I think is meant to be like, you can kind of mix. But it does have a close shade in the palette. And this one, like the Sicily, I think is a little bit more sheer, still pigmented, and maybe a little bit of like slight sheen as well. So I do have a liquid blush that's obviously going to be a little bit harder to compare. This is the Glossier Cloud Paint in Haze, and I just think it's going to, you know, have that little bit of bright berry tone. This is a lot. You can see that there. Same idea, just liquid. So those are my blush comparisons to the Vivid Azalea palette. You can see, you know, this shade isn't like exactly unique, but I think most brands don't have a shade like this. There's a few that do, but not a lot. You kind of have to seek it out. Most people would probably think, oh, you should not wear that shade if you have fair skin or a cool toned fair skin. I think you absolutely can. Just take it easy. All right, let's get in a highlighter. I think I only have like one highlighter that probably is close. So the highlighter, and this is the Guerlain Meteorites Pearl Dust palette. I think this pearl gold shade, sorry, the reflection is not great. I think this pearl gold shade here might be close. Yeah, you guys maybe can see that? Not really. Let's just do swatches. So this is Pearl from the Vivid Azalea palette. And my light kind of likes to adjust so you can't see highlights or light colors that well. But it does have a nice gold sheen, light gold sheen to it. The Meteorites palette, also very gold, light gold sheen as well. Yeah, I think the Wayne Goss has another color mixed in here, a little bit whiter, and the Guerlain is just very like gold, like just kind of flat gold. So I think you can see the difference there between the two. If I were to mix the pink and gold from here, I would be curious to see if it's closer, so let's do that. Maybe. I think there's like the slightest amount of like purple or pink in here or something. Something going on in there. Not a lot, not super close. I don't have a lot of highlighters in this color, so another reason I was happy to pick this up. Okay, so my final thoughts on these palettes. I mean, I just got them today, so this is really a first impression, but I mean, I am loving them. They are so easy to use. I think like that's kind of the theme of Wayne Goss's makeup, is that everything is really easy to use. You just have to find the right shades for you. The only thing with me, like I think this contour shade really works for me. The bronzer, I probably would have preferred a little less sheen. You know, I do have highlighter on, but I think you can kind of see on my cheeks that this has a good amount of glow to it. So I think I will be mixing these in the future just to kind of like, you know, before I apply them to my face, just to kind of get more of the tone that I want, because this isn't like my perfect bronzer color. I usually want something a little less warm, but this is really pretty. I think the result is beautiful. So it's just a matter of preference. And then I really like this as well. I think I just have to be careful to not overdo it, otherwise I gotta backtrack and kind of blend things out, but this is a beautiful combination. I'm really happy with both, to be honest. I don't have anything like real critical to say about these. If you're curious like what the palettes look like, they are exactly the same size as the eyeshadow palettes. They're very sleek, they're weighty, they have a really good mirror. The shade names are on the back and what order they're in. It's really well thought out. I'm noticing the blush lasts 9 months, whereas the bronzer palette lasts 24 months. Interesting. I wonder if the blush dries out a little bit and wondering. The blush is definitely, I mean, it applies beautifully with his brushes, but it feels like not quite as smooth as everything else that I tried. It's definitely a matte and not quite as buttery, but it applied fine, so who knows. But honestly, I would not hesitate to pick up either of these products if you are in the market for a bronzer or a blush palette. I definitely don't have a lot of face palettes in my collection. I probably should get more. It's just, I don't know, sometimes I feel like not excited about them, or they just don't appeal to me because some shades just don't work for me, so I just give up on them. But these colors work very well, even though they're not like 100% like my top picks. Just talking about the bronzer shade, but I'm still happy. Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you've tried either of these palettes. Please comment below. If you like this video, click the thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.